Good day, grade 12s. I hope you're well. Um, you are nearing the end, and I hope you are excited, but also making plans to really study hard and prepare yourself for what is coming. Right. In preparation for what is coming, we have a special session for our high flyers today, but this will not be divided into too long of a session. So we'll be doing paper one and paper two concepts within one time frame. I will just take a small break in between where we switch videos and then, yes, we can see what we can do, focusing on some higher level questions, more of the difficult type of questions where multi-step calculations is needed. Right, so let's have a look at what we'll be doing today, and then just some logistic arrangements for the teachers watching and helping navigate this video for the learners is that today I will be doing a method that I am comfortable with and I can explain. But I know that there is various methods. So when I'm doing one method and you taught your learners otherwise, please let them continue with the method that they are comfortable with. Let's just at the end check our answers. And then also, when you need the learners to first calculate it on their own, pause the video that you are currently playing, let the learners quickly do the calculation themselves, and then play me again so that we can mark then together the video or the activity. So it's on you to navigate and do this video as you'd like. Right, so let's have a look at our second page. This is just a new type of um, layout. I know this is not a normal online video for you, but just a normal lay or a new type of layout of how paper one looks and how paper two looks, how the questions is divided. So on your own time, you can go and have a read through that. Remember, the questions is up until question 5. There is 150 marks per paper and then 3 hours of that paper. Right. Let's turn to the next page and see paper one concepts that we are starting with. Starting with personal income tax. Now, this is something that is bound to be in the paper, and let's go and have a look on what the question is. Right. Going to the question, Marlon is a 40-year-old businessman. I'm highlighting 40 years because I know somewhere in that 5-step calculation, age is important, and that is at step 4, right? So as I'm explaining to you this, I hope that you also know by now the steps out of your head like I do. He is married and has one child. He receives a monthly salary, oh, that's important, monthly salary of 56,750 Rand, and he has a monthly pension contribution of 8,512 Rand 50. He receives a bonus and it's equal to his monthly salary, but the bonus does not contribute to the pension fund, meaning that he gets not 12 checks a year, but rather he gets 13 checks because he gets a salary for each month. That is most 12 months. And then he also gets a bonus. So that is why they call it its 13th check. Right. But then he only pays 12 times his pension contribution. So he only pays from January till December his pension contribution. He does not contribute that 13th check. It does not also mean that he contributes a 13th payment towards his pension fund. Okay, so just remember that. So 13th check, but 12 pension fund contributions. His spouse and child are dependents on his medical aid. So that is very important. So looking at his medical aid, he will pay for himself, he will pay for his spouse, and he will pay for his child. Okay, but we'll have a look at that again. Now we have table 1, the tax table, table 2, that is where the age is, oh, sorry, age is appropriate. And then again, the last table, oh, so let's just quickly have a look. This is step 3, this is step 4, and this is step 5. Remember, looking at step 5, Step 5 you only do when you are or when the individual has a medical aid. When the person doesn't have a medical aid, you just cancel it out or you don't do step 5. Now there is a let's say a pothole at step 5, which is this is the only table working in months. So on your own, you are supposed to go and multiply this by 12. But we'll do this when we get there. Right. Looking at 1.1. Write down the name of the government institution responsible for collecting the income tax in South Africa. Now, by now, I'm sure you know my videos and you know me and you know how I feel about action words. So the action word here is to write. It's nothing you need to read. It's something you need to write. So you are supposed to know this. And who is responsible for collecting our tax in South Africa? It is SARS, the South African Revenue Service. Okay, the South African Revenue Service. Now, going to 1.2, they tell me calculate Marlin's annual gross salary. The action word here is to calculate. It means you need to do a sum, right? So calculate Marlin's annual. What does annual mean? It means yearly gross salary. So what does he earn per month? In the story, it nicely explains to me he earns 56,750 Rand. So that will be 56,750 Rand. And he earns this for each month. That is why I'm multiplying by 12. That gets me to an answer of 681,000 Rand. But remember, he also earns a bonus. So I'm adding the bonus here. The bonus, which is equals to his monthly salary, 56,750 Rand. And this gets me to the annual gross salary, which is 737,750. But if you went and said 56,750 multiplied by 30, you would have also came to the exact same answer. So either or, your marks is good. Right. Moving on to the next question, question 1.3. Here they tell me define the term taxable income. So now I must explain. Define means no calculations, no sums, no nothing, just some words explaining. So it's almost writing an Afrikaans or an English paper. Right. So define means you need to write a sentence. Now, what is the taxable income? The part of your salary you get taxed on, or SARS calculates how much tax you need to pay based on the part of your salary called taxable income. So it's important to know that taxable income is a part of your salary that gets looked at by SARS, and that is how your tax is calculated. So they don't look at your gross salary to calculate tax. No, they first make a few deductions and then they look at the next part, and that is your taxable income. Okay. Let's have a look at question 1.4. Here we start again with the action word calculate. Calculate Marlin's monthly tax payable. Okay, so remember, it is monthly tax payable. And when they ask me to calculate the tax payable, I immediately go to that 5-step calculation. So first thing is, what do I need to do? First on my calculation is I need to calculate my gross salary. And on my gross salary, I just calculated it there, which is 337,750 rand. Right. Now we go to our next step. And our next step, and I always like to make the steps like that. Again, this is my method. Take what you want and keep continuing with whatever you already have. Right. So now we are going to the second step. The second step is the deductibles that I am allowed to deduct. Now, what does Marlon have that I am allowed to deduct? Marlon has the pension fund that I'm allowed to deduct. So remember, when I am deducting that 8,512 rand 50, I need to realize that this is my gross per annum, but this is my pension per month, and I can't deduct per annum and per month. So I quickly need to go and multiply this with 12 before I deduct. Okay, because everything must be either in months or in years, and I'm making everything in years. When I deduct that, I get left with 635,600 rand. And this is what we call my taxable income per year. Right. Do you see? I also make use of words to help me guide me through the steps. And also, this is very nice for a marker to see this because now the marker will be very friendly, giving you all the marks you so well deserved. Okay, right. Now, let's go to step 3. Step 3 tells me I need to go to the table. Going to the table, I'm looking for 635,600. And now where is that? That most definitely lies within that category there. Okay, so going to that category there, I am now saying immediately I will pay 163,335 with an additional 39% of, meaning brackets, the taxable income. And now what's the taxable income? That is that 635,600 above, meaning minus, and then 613,600. Close the brackets. Now, again, something I fully believe in is don't go and break this up into various small pieces. Just go and put it once into your calculator. Because when you put it in once, there's no faults that you can make and everything will be just good. So now we say we need to pay 171,950 rand tax up until now. Good. But now, luckily, we are just at step 4. And at step 4 is where the individual gets, let's say, discount according to his or her age. Right. So according to his or her age, Marlon is 40 years old, meaning what discount will he get? He will get the 15,000 discount because he is only in a primary age category. So that will be subtracted by 15,714 rand because that is your primary rebate. Okay, so going to primary rebate, subtracting that will get me to 156,201. Right. Now, step 5, very important. Am I allowed to do step 5? Yes, I am. Why am I allowed to do step 5? Because they have a medical aid. It is Marlon's medical aid, his spouse's medical aid, and his child's medical aid. Right. Going to that rebate part, he gets a 319 rand discount per month. Oh, look at me. 319 rand. Apologies. Right. But remember, that is only per month. I am working in years, so I need to multiply that by 12. And this is Marlins. Now we are going to his spouse. She also gets a 319 Rand discount, spouse. And then his child gets the 215 Rand, and that is the child. Right. Now, going and subtracting all those values, ending up with 145,965. And this is the tax payable per year. And what did the question ask? The question asked me to do a monthly. So going monthly, I need to divide by 12. Dividing by 12 gets me 12,163 Rand and 75 cents. And this is payable per month. And there we go. As easy as that. Right. I hope you are happy. Remember, there will be a tax question, I'm sure of it, in your question paper. So please go and have a look at that and do a few calculations. Remember that they don't always give you from step 1 to step 5 to calculate. Sometimes they give you 1 and 2, and then other times they just give you step 4, step 5 to do. Okay, so yes. Know your terminology, because when you know your terminology, it will get you through these questions. I believe in that. Okay, now going to the next part of question 1 of paper 1's work, which brings me to data. Now let's have a look at data. Some reverse calculations, okay, because I think that is the most important part. But again, you can't manage a reverse calculation if you don't know how to do the forward normal calculation, okay? So let's have a look. Table 2 below shows an extract of the estimate provincial mid-year population by age group and gender for selected provinces. How many provinces do we have in South Africa? We have 9. How many provinces is here? 1, 2, 3. That is why it is the selected provinces, because not all the provinces is shown, only a few selected parts is or provinces are or is shown. Right. Estimated mid-year population of selected provinces by age and sex. Right. So there is my ages, and see again, it's once again selected because not all the ages, we can't stop at 39. There's people that is 50 and 60 and 70, even 80. Okay, right. And then it's divided into male and female each time. 2.1. The average male population in Eastern Cape is, and there they give me a number. So they actually went and calculated the average. So it is already done for me. How do you calculate average? You calculate the average by adding everything and then dividing by the total number of items there is. Right. Now they tell me determine by value A the number of male populations between 15 and 19. So there is my action word, determine value A. Now where's value A? There it is. So they already went and counted everything together, divided it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that is how they found the average. So now, how will I do the reverse part? So the reverse part is actually very easy, right? I will show you a quick sum or a quick formula. So I always go and calculate the average. Then I take the average and I multiply it by the number of items there is. Then I get an answer, right? Then what I do is I subtract the total or the known total thereof. So let me, oh, sorry, you can't see that. Okay, so let me quickly explain it to you. First thing, what is the average? The average is 295,978, sorry, comma 625. Multiply by the number of numbers, the total numbers. Okay, how many is there? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is 8. So I multiply that by 8. When I do that, I get to the answer of 2,367,829. So there I multiplied by the number and then I got the answer. Right, so what do I do now? Now I subtract the total or the known total. So where do I get the known total? Now get out your calculators and add all of these known values together. What do you get? You get subtract by 2,050,280. And when you subtract that, you get the actual answer of the value of A, 317,549. And there we go. So now, just a tip for you, we always write it back in the place. And now, do you see? That value actually fits very nicely in between that or there in that space. Okay, so that is actually a good tip to always go back and go and write in the value because maybe later we'll need it again. All right, let's have a look at the next question. The next question is the range for the female population of Gauteng is 312,863. Oh, okay. So the range is that, which tells me that they already went and calculated the range. How do you get the range? To get the range is the maximum subtracted by the minimum value. Okay. Let's read further. Where B represents the highest value. Oh, okay. So B is the highest value, meaning B is the max value. Let's go and have a look. Where's B? Oh, there's B. B is then the highest value in that range only. Right. Now, let's then write my formula. I need the maximum value because that is what B needs to be calculated. So how do I calculate the maximum value? To calculate the maximum value, I take the range and I add it with the minimum value. Okay, so I take the maximum value and I add it to the minimum value. Right. B is the maximum value and we'll be calculating the maximum value by taking the range. How much is the range? There it is, 312,863 added to the minimum value. Oh no, where's the minimum value? It's not stated there. Okay, so let's go and have a look here. Within this data set, where or which one is the minimum value? Having a look. Is it that one? The 542,000. That is my minimum value. Okay. So now let's take that minimum value. 542,072. Right. Adding those two together, it gets me to 854,935. And again, putting that back into the place, 854,935. And there we go. Now have a look at this. How great is this? This is actually the largest number there. But it's supposed to be the largest number because I just calculated it. And this is just a proof for me that I am correct. Okay, right. Let's go and have a look at the next question. Next question, 2.3. The action word here is to determine, the interquartile range for the female population of Gauteng. Okay, quickly. Interquartile range. How do we calculate the interquartile range? It is by taking quartile 3 and subtracting it with quartile 1. But why does it count 5 marks if I only do this simple sum? I need to first go and organize the data, or in ascending or descending order, arrange data. We are going ascending order. Okay? Then the second step is find quartile 2, then quartile 1, then quartile 3. Why quartile 2 first? Because that is known as my mean. Oh, sorry, median. Median. There we go. Sorry, median. Right? Or that is also known as my 50th percentile. Quartile 1 is known as my lower quartile or my 25th percentile. And then quartile 3 is known as my higher quartile or my 75th percentile. So first thing is I need to go and then step 3 is using the formula. So first thing is I need to arrange this data. Now, what data is it that I need to arrange? It is the female population of Gauteng. And again, look at this. It is this data. Now, how nice is it that I went actually and wrote in the answer because I need to use the answer now once again. Okay, so let's use it. Ascending order, which one is the smallest value? Starting with 542,072. Now I'm just going to write it and you just double check me. Right, there we go. There's my data arranged. Now we'll go and find quartile 2. Because without quartile 2, I can't find quartile 1 and 3. Oh, okay. Look at this. These two is in the middle. So what do I need to do now? I need to go and count them together to get and divide by 2 to get quartile 2. But luckily, that's not necessary now. Okay. So let's then go and find quartile 1. So for quartile 1, I may use this value because remember, there will be a new value for quartile 2. So I can use this value and start there and say, there's it again. Quartile 1 will be in between those. So how do I work that out? I go and say 569,943 added to 618,934. I first press the equal sign to get the answer. And now I divide by 2. Quartile 1 is now 594,438.5. So that is quartile 1. Okay. And now I can do the same for quartile 3. Let's go and find quartile 3. It's that one and that one getting to the middle. So quartile 3 will be in between there. Let's go and calculate that one. Remember, I add them together. And I first press the equal sign before I divide by 2. Why do I keep saying this? Because sometimes you press this plus this divide by 2. And then remember the BODMAS rule kicks in. And then you'll first divide and then you'll add. And that is why your answer is incorrect. Okay? So test it if you don't believe me. But really, I am asking you very nicely to okay, there we go. Right. So now, again, another method of testing and ensuring that you are on the right path. See this 594. Do you see in between these two? Do you see that that number fits in between these two numbers? And that means that my answer is correct. So if this number doesn't fit in between these two, it means I have done that very same mistake that I've told you not to do. So please go and have a look. This is like a double testing method. The 786 also, look at that. 786. Do you see? It's bigger than that one, but smaller than that one. So it fits in the middle, and that is what I need. So now, after doing a lot of work, now I can say quartile 3 subtracting with quartile 1. My answer, which is the interquartile range, 192,331. And that, people, is my interquartile range. Keeping with the data and statistical part of the mathematical literacy, let's go and have a look at some charts and some big numbers. Right. The following chart has been released by Stats SA, which shows the main sources of income for municipalities in South Africa. Right. Okay, where do municipalities get their money from? Okay, so this is actually the amount of money they have, 82.6 billion rand, and it gets divided into these various sections. Now, what I see in these sections is they tell me it's grants and subsidies. So 23.5% of that money goes to grants and subsidies, which is relating to 19.4 billion rand. And so does everything else gets divided into. Now, which one or which sector do you see is actually the most? The most is here the sales of electricity. That is where their money goes to or they get it from. And then look at this. Your grants and subsidies is the second largest part. How do I see it? I can spot it within the size of the pie, but also double ensuring it by looking at the percentage. Okay, so just before we start, I need to quickly focus on this word billion. We actually have million, which means 6 zeros, right? And then we have billion, which is 9 zeros, right? Just for future reference. Right, so the question here at 3.1 is, show how the amount for the sales of electricity 24.9 billion was calculated. So now show how. You won't get marks for the answer of 24.9 billion. You will get marks for calculating, showing how it is calculated. So again, sales of electricity, there we go. So how do we get to that 24.9 billion? Obviously, we are having a look at the percentage there. So taking my 82.6 billion and multiplying it by 30.2%. And what do I get my answer as? The answer which I get on the calculator is 24.9452, and that answer will also be billion. But now I'm actually getting some fright because that is zero point 0.9 and that is 0.942452. But actually, this is just one decimal and this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just round it off and see if it looks more similar. So 24 comma, and that is a 4. So that means that 9 remains the same. And there we go, billion. And look at that. That is exactly how it's calculated. And look, there I get to exactly that answer. Okay, right. Um, Continuing onwards to the next question. Oh, look, this is also a very nice graph for you. Okay, so let's read. As part of the research task, Chandra examines a graph he found on the internet about average house prices of medium and large houses in South Africa. Use the graph shown below to answer the questions. Okay, so now, oh, I see. Medium houses is the solid line and large houses is the stepped line, right? Yeah, I go. Yes, the years indicated. There's the prices, but now I'm looking at the price and I'm thinking, is a house really 9.48 and 9.23? Oh no, this is not true at all. Oh, but you know what I missed? The most important part. The most important part is this. Rand in hundred thousands, meaning that each one of these is in hundred thousands. And that is why you need to go and have a look and think clearly and realistically about everything. You need to go and see. Let me just plug in my laptop here to charge. Apologies. There we go. Just double check. Yes, there it is charging now. Okay, lovely. Um, where was I? Oh, that is why you need to go and think realistically and actually read the scenario and go and um, ask yourself, is this true what is standing here? Okay, so um, please don't miss stuff like that. The question is, determine the price for a medium house in 2020. Medium house. So I'm looking at the solid line. There is a 2010, apologies. 2010, meaning that that is the price of my medium house. But I can't now go and write 970 because that is not 970 for a house. You need to go and make it in hundred thousands. So I'm only going to multiplied by 100,000. So what do I do? Look at this. I'm just saying 970 multiply 100,000. And there we go. And there's my answer. As easy as that. 970,000. So that is the actual price of a medium house in 2010. Next question. Again, determine the median price of a large house for the period of 2005 to 2015. So remember, we did median in the previous question. And what is the median? The median is when you take a range of numbers and you sort and you search for the middle part. But how do you get the middle part? You get the middle part by first arranging the numbers. So a large house is the step numbers. There we go. But look at that. How nice is that? It's already arranged for us. So I can just go and search for the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1. There we go. And there's the middle one. That is my middle part. And the middle part again is the price is not 14 Rand 47, but rather in hundred thousands. So again, multiplying that, it gets me to 1,440,000. 7,000 rand for a large house in 2010, the median price. Okay, good. So this is now nice graphs that we did. Let's go and have a look at some more finances, which brings us to exchange rates. Okay, exchange rates. The cost for a quarter of a page to advertise in a local newspaper in the United Kingdom is £250. The exchange rate between South African rand and the United Kingdom pound on 15 November 2021 is given below. So they will always give you the exchange rate, right? So it means if I give 20 rand 38 cents, I will get £1 to be, and if someone comes from the United Kingdom and they give £1, it will be the value of 20 rand 38. Okay, so 5.1. Write down the exchange rate for of the South African rand to the British pound in the form 1 to something. Round off to 3 decimals. So again, this you call unit form. So I need to go and do it in a unit form. But when we are looking at forms, we are looking at ratios, okay? So here they tell me the South African rand to the British pound. So what is first in the sentence is first in the ratio. First in the sentence is the African rand, so that means it will be 20.38. To what is next in the sentence will become next in the ratio. So the order of the sentence gives you the order of the ratio. Okay, and then British pounds, which is 1. But they don't want it like this. They want the rand to be 1. So how do I get the rand to be 1? I divide it by its own or by itself. So 20 rand 38 divided by 20 rand 38 is 1. And 1 pound divided by 20 rand 38 will give me 0, 0,04. Let's quickly just do this. 1 divided by 20,38. And there we go, sorry. And now, what do I need to do? I need to round it to 3 decimals. So 1, 2, 3. It must stop there, but that is a 0, so it can stop at the 9. And there we go. As easy as that. So that is my unit form for rand. Next, they are asking me, determine in rand the price to advertise in a local newspaper. Okay, so, oh yes, but I read that in a story. It cost a £250 to advertise in a local newspaper, but they want it in rands. So I will now take the ratio or the exchange rate that I've worked with, and I will exchange the £250 for rands. So now, do you see how I do it? I put the pounds and the pounds underneath each other and the rands underneath each other, and then I cross multiply. Now, I don't know how you were taught to do it, but let's all quickly do it on its own, on our own, and then we compare the answers. And there we go. There's my answer. Okay, let's go and have a look at some more level of question one, paper question one questions. Here I have water tariffs. Let's go and have a look at some water tariffs. Um, John claims that he chooses to live in Cape Town. He will pay 3,600 Rand per year more compared to a person living in Ekurhuleni. So when someone claims something, you will need to verify it, which means that you will do a sum and write a sentence. Okay, so anywhere where someone claims something or you need to verify something, you will then do a sum and do a sentence. So he says if he lives in Cape Town, he will pay more compared to Ekurhuleni to use 45 kiloliters of water per month. Right. Show by means of calculation whether John's statement is correct or not. Okay. Now first, let's calculate Cape Town. Let's have a look at what's happening in Cape Town. Happening in Cape Town is the monthly use towards the rand value. There we go. Oh, do you see? They have a fixed monthly cost, and that is the rand value they have there. And then upon that, they also have the staggered calculation that we need to do. So let's go and have a look and calculate what we have there. Cape Town, starting with, let me just get my ruler here, starting with 45 kiloliters of water. Does 45 kiloliters of water lie in step one? No, it doesn't. But how far is that? We say 6 subtracted by 0, which means it is 6. Multiply with the rate there or the tariff there, which is 15 Rand 10 cent. Okay. Moving on, because I haven't found 45 yet, I move on to step 2. Does step 2 lie within, or 45 lie within step 2? No, it doesn't. So, how far is that? 10,5 subtracted by 6. That is 4,5. Multiply with the tariff there is 20 Rand 75. Did I find 45 yet? No, I haven't. So now I go to step 3. Step 3, does 45 lie within those two values? No, it doesn't. So 35 minus 10,5, and that is 24,5. Multiply with the price there, 28 Rand 20. Okay, now moving on to step 4 because I haven't found 45 yet, and there is everything bigger than 35. So moving on to that, 45 definitely lies within that value. So now I can move to 35 or 45 subtracted by 35, which is 10. 10 multiplied by the tariff 52 Rand 4 cents. And now I believe that I found 45, but we must prove it. So to prove it, we say 6 plus 4,5 plus 24,5 plus 10. And guess what? We get to 45. And when we get to 45, now I can go and I can multiply that stuff out. So that gets me 19 Rand, 90 Rand 60, 93 Rand. And yes, I am writing all the values there because I'm not done and I can only round off when I'm done. Okay, so that is for every step the total amount to be paid in that step. But please don't forget about the fixed cost that is also charged at Cape Town, giving me 104.50 extra to add. And when I add that, I get to the amount of 1,499 Rand and 78 cents. And that is the value for the month. Now, I do the exact same for Ekurhuleni. So let's quickly just divide this page here. Okay, Ekurhuleni. Ekurhuleni is here. And look at this. They don't have a monthly fixed cost. How nice is that? So now I go and I see, right. Again, does 45 lie between those two numbers? No, it doesn't. So now I say, let me just move it up a small bit. 6 subtracted by 0, which is 6, multiplied by the rate or the tariff, which is 13 Rand 50 cents. Continuing onwards, does 45 lie between those two numbers? No. 15 subtracted by 6 gives me 9, multiplied by 22 Rand 24. Going on to the next step, because I haven't found 45 yet, and that is then 30 subtracted by 15, which gives me 15 multiplied by 27 Rand 24 cents. And I haven't still found 45. Going on to that next step, and there I can see 45 lies there. So now I say 45 minus 13, and that gets me another 15 multiplied by the tariff there, which is 33 Rand 90 cents. Okay, right. Again, testing it. 6 plus 9 is 15, plus another 15 is 30, plus another 15 is 45. Yes, I found it. So now I can calculate this out. Calculating it out is 81 Rand, 200 Rand and 16 cents, 408 Rand, 60 cents, and 508 Rand, 50 cents. I get my total. Remember, there's no fixed cost to add, and that is 1,198 Rand and 26 cents. Right. Now I can go and I can see what the difference is. The difference is taking Cape Town and subtracting it by Ekurhuleni. I can see I pay a lot more in Cape Town than I do in Ekurhuleni. And the difference here is 301 Rand and 52 cents. Right. But why does he talk about 3,600 Rand? Oh, look why. Because it's per year. And what am I doing here? I am calculating per month. So what do I need to do? I need to multiply the difference by 12. So now I say, what is that answer then? That answer is 3,618 Rand and 24 cents. So what was his statement? His statement is that it will be more than 3,600 Rand. So is it true? Yes, John is correct. And there we go. Do you see? I end off with my sum and with my sentence. Right. Now we are done with paper 1 concepts. Let's quickly take a small breather. Go to the next video for paper 2. Right. See you in the next video.